Imagine, if you will, you're writing a book about yourself. Would you drag up all the skeletons out of your closet and put them on display for the whole world to see? No autobiography has damning evidence inside. Sure, people have written biographies about people and they put all the gory details of their misdeeds into the book. But if someone's writing about themselves, it's highly unlikely they would paint themselves in a way that would cause others to look down on them. What about if you were to start a cult? Within your examples of other members, would you talk about all the bad that they did while they were following you? Of course not. You wouldn't want to turn prospective members off from your new religious ideals. The interesting thing about the Bible is that it doesn't hold back on the record of its characters. We've already seen this in our lessons on this channel. Adam and Eve broke the only rule they had to follow to live in paradise. Noah gets drunk and goes off on his son shortly after God saves them from the flood. Adam and Isaac run from God, then lie about their relationship with their wives, willing to sacrifice the well-being of their wives to save their own skin. These were the first members of God's religion. If these members behave the way that they did, what does that do to inform us about the religion? But the bad publicity doesn't stop there. Moses loses his temper. The entire people of Israel rebel against God on numerous occasions, and this was their own religion and their own writings. David sleeps with another man's wife, then kills him to steal her away from him, and yet David is the most admired man in the Old Testament. Peter cuts a man's ear off, then denied Christ after seeing everything he saw. And he's labeled as the rock on which God would build his church. Paul calls himself the chief of all sinners after what he had done before coming to Christ. These actions are not only frowned upon today, but are directly called out in Scripture as being sinful. What a way to build a religion, by the example of a bunch of hypocrites. The truth is, the more honest someone is about themselves and what they have done, the more trustworthy they are. If you were to write that book and only include the good that you've accomplished in your life, people would know the entire story wasn't being told. However, if you were to be honest and take note of the twists and turns in your own life, it would be more believable. A biblical worldview is unique in the fact that all of us are fallible and cannot live up to the perfect standard. The writers of Scripture do what no salesman of religion does. It addresses the bad parts of the examples it sets. The writers understood no one was perfect except for God, and that in the examples of their own failings, we can learn from their mistakes. The negative light these people are painted in furthers the credibility of Scripture as historical truth and not myth alone. Continue with me as we learn more about the historical reliability of Scripture and the God that inspired it. May God keep you and bless you. Really quick, before you go, let me explain why I felt led to start this channel. When talking to Pilate, Jesus said, "I have come into the world to bear witness to the truth. Everyone who is of the truth listens to my voice." Pilate responds by asking, "What is the truth?" It's evident that a lot of people are still asking this question almost 2,000 years later. And while we live in an amazing time with the wealth of the world's knowledge available in the palm of our hands, There's often too much information, leaving people unable to process what's true and what's not true. Paul describes such times in this way when he writes his second letter to his disciple Timothy. Always learning and never able to arrive at a knowledge of the truth. There are several who expound on what truth is, but often they are misguided, or they are malice in their intent, or they're being intellectually dishonest. My hope is that I am able to provide evidence for why the scriptural narrative is true, a contextual and practical explanation of the principles found in its writings, and a defense for other believers. As Peter explains, you should always be prepared to make a defense to anyone who asks you for a reason for the hope that is in you, yet do it with gentleness and respect. If you find value in this channel as I do, there are a few ways you can help, both by gifting and without spending any money. First, react and interact with these videos wherever you're watching from. This greatly helps the channel be seen by others and new people. Next, please share this content with others you feel may benefit from the information found here. Also, please subscribe to this channel on all social media. And finally, if you feel led to, and if you have the means to, please consider giving to this channel through the outlets previously mentioned, or the channel's Patreon. All these links are going to be in the video description. Thank you for watching, and may God keep you and bless you.